You might be looking behind you and remembering the past generation that provoked God, that tempted God, that disobeyed God, and could not possess that promised land. We may be tempted to look back. We might be tempted to say the enemy is too strong. Because isn't that what happened? Didn't they come up to the promised land and they sent in the spies and they said, we're not able to take it. They're too big. There's too many giants. We're like grasshoppers. They're going to destroy us. And because of their unbelief in a God that had done so much for them, he says, I've had enough. These 10 times you have provoked me, and now I'm going to give you just what you asked for. You're going to die out here in the wilderness, and it's the next generation that's going to receive the promise. You're not going to receive it because you can't believe it, because you can't have faith, because you can't take a stand.
Wow, that's good. Help us, God.
So the enemies was too strong, and the giants was too big. But let me tell you the other side of the story. Because I'm going to be honest with you, in my study, and I learned some things this week. After they had wandered around that mountain for a while, God said, enough's enough. You've wandered around this mountain long enough. Those that doubted me, those that didn't believe in me, they're dead now. Doubt's dead. Unbelief is dead. Disobedience is dead. The flesh has died, and it's time to move on to the other side. But before we head over to the other side, let's get some things straight. First, I want to take you a few places. And in Deuteronomy, you don't have to go there, I'm going to jump all around. The Bible says you can pass this mountain long enough, turn you northward. And then he said, you're going to come along the children of Esau. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Because I gave them that land to possess it. And I won't give you a foot of it. It's theirs. I gave it to them. You see what I was able to do? I gave them that land. It's theirs. You can't have it. And when you go a little further, you're going to come up on Lot's people. You can't have that either because I gave it to them. And as I got to studying, I found out that that land that they possessed was the land of giants. And that God had run those giants out. And God had given them the victory. And so I call this the faith walk, brother, because he was saying, look, giants once inhabited that land too. And giants once inhabited that land too. But I was able to give it to them. And I was able to give it to them. And I'm well able to give it to you. I've got another possession for you. I've got a land flowing with milk and honey. But before we get there, I want you to see what I've already done. I'm going to build your faith up. I want you to see where there's some giants that have failed before. And the giants will fall again. Because there's no giant too big for my God. And so that's what happened. All of a sudden they got done taking this little faith walk. And God says, now it's time. All that dear flesh is dead. You've taken a faith walk and I've reminded you what I can do. And now you're going to go in and you're going to begin to possess the land. And when you get there, they're going to fear you. And they're going to tremble you before you. Because they know that I am your father and you are my son. And that I am going before you. And I'm going to carry you into that land. And I'm going to fulfill the word that I gave to you. And so this is exactly what happened. They began to conquer. They began to go out and they began to, the conquest begins. And they began to take the king of Sihon and they defeated him. And they went to Bashan and they defeated him. And all at once they began to realize something's going on here. The giants are falling. The giants are falling. The giants are falling. We're being victorious. God is with us. And I wonder if they look back and they remember when their forefathers who were walking in the flesh, whenever they realized that they was not going to go into the promised land, they said, "Oh, you're not going to stop us, Moses. We're here. And we're here now. And we're going to go into that land and we're going to possess it." I'm sorry that God doesn't like our ways. And I'm sorry that we wasn't obedient. But we're here and we're not going back. We're going into that land with or without Him. And Moses says, "Listen here. If you go into that land, you're going to be defeated because God ain't with you." And the Bible says that the ark and Moses stayed back at the camp and that they went into that land and that they sent them back a-running, that they killed them and that they slaughtered them, and that it was a great defeat because they tried to do it in the flesh, because they tried to do it on their own, because they tried to possess the promised land their way. The Bible says there is no other way. If you try to come any other way than by Him, you're the same as a thief and a robber. I know ADD's got some really good security, but I don't think it even begins to compare to the security that's in heaven. I wouldn't want to be that thief and robber that's trying to get into that promised land the wrong way. But I want to go to that way that's true. The way, the truth, and the life, and His name is Jesus. There is no other way whereby men might be saved. And so, they was victorious. And they had conquered some lands. And they were still on this side of the Jordan. And on this side of the Jordan, they began to build some cities. And Moses told them, "It's okay. You can possess this land. You can have a little heaven on this side of the Jordan. It's okay. You can build your cities. And you can leave your kids and your flocks and you can leave your children here. You've slain some giants and you've had some victories. But this is not where it stops. Because the only way you're going to possess this land is if you pick up your sword and you go before your brothers and you cross over that Jordan and you help them defeat the giants that are on the other side so that they can possess the land that was promised to them. And we can't stop, church. We can't stop where we're at. We can't say, "I got the truth." We can't say, "I understand." God's given me great victories. God's given me great faith. I've dropped some great giants in my life, and now I'm going to take my rest. But we have to say, "Hey, there's another generation that needs to go on even further. They need to cross on even further to another side. And there's some giants waiting for them over there, and we're going to go along with them." This idea that the elders have done all the work and it's time to sit down is garbage. It's time for the elders to say, "Let me show you how it's done, son. Let me show you how the operation of the Spirit of God works in our life. I'm going to lay hands on this person and I'm going to show you that God can heal them. I'm going to show you my faith. I'm going to walk before you. I'm going to set up an altar that you can see." And I'm not just talking to the elders of the church. I'm talking to the young adults too. Because there's a generation behind us that's watching us just like we're watching the generation in front of us. And if we want to possess the land, we've got to go forward. And we've got to help them slay those giants that's trying to steal theirs. That's trying to keep them away from their promise. We've got to have an altar, church. They build an altar, bow themselves before God so that they can stand before men. The altar is going to burn some things out of us. And it's going to pour some better things into us. When we allow God to change us at the altar, He will make us to be a new generation, a chosen generation, a peculiar people, a people where old things are passed away and behold, all things have become new. A people not conformed to this world, but transformed by the renewing of their minds. A people that are anchored to a rock. A people that aren't afraid to fight for themselves or their brothers or their sisters. A people who will have built an altar to remember. It was their victories that encouraged Joshua. It was their victories that encouraged the people to go forward and to win. To take what God had given to them. We can't sit down when God gives us a victory. We can't sit down when God blesses us. That's got to spur us forward. That's got to spur us on. We've got to teach it to the people. We've got to teach it to our sons and their sons and their sons. We've got to pass it on. We've got to have an altar that they can see. That they know that we're actively using. I'm not talking about something that's rebellious against God, because that's what the people of Israel thought. And I'm coming to a close. That's what they thought. Whenever they saw that altar go up on the other side of the Jordan, they said, oh, they're going to go and they're going to slaughter animals and they're going to make sacrifices and they're going to do it other than the way God told us to do it. And they're going to mess it up for all of us. And they're going to get God's wrath upon us. But that's not the way that it was. And when they came and they challenged them, they said, you don't understand. We didn't build this altar to make idols and commit adultery before God. We built this altar to remember where we've been. We built this altar to remember where we came from. We built this altar to remember the victories that God gave us. We built this altar so that our children can see it and they can know that they have an inheritance just the same as those on the other side of this Jordan. I remember singing a song when I was a child, and it's been going through my mind for several weeks. Lord help you all. But it went something like this. More than anything in my life, I've got to make it. More than anything in my life, I've got to make it. I've got to know my name's inscribed in the Lamb's great book of life. I've got to hear Him say, well done, enter in, my child, you won. More than anything in my life, I've got to make it. You know it? You've heard it? More than anything in my life, I've got to make it. I've got to know my name's inscribed in the Lamb's great book of life. I've got to hear Him say, well done, enter in, my child, you won. More than anything in my life, I've got to make it. And then, as I remembered singing this song as a young man without any reservation. But as I've been singing it over the last couple of weeks in my mind over and over, singing it as a parent, I began to feel that I want my child to make it just as bad as I want to make it. And so God, when I say more than anything in my life, I've got to make it. In order for that to be true, I've got to say, God, more than anything, I want me and my children to make it. And then I was reminded of the fire safety training that I went through in order to help protect people from fire. And statistics say that in a home fire, if the parents don't make it out, most of the time neither do the kids. And oftentimes, not knowing what to do, they hide under a bed or in a closet and and their lives are lost. They need somebody in the smoke and somebody in the darkness to come in there and take them by the hand and say, come here, son, come here, daughter, I'm going to show you the way out of here. There's a way out. There's a way to safety, and I'm going to show you what it is. Moms, dads, grandparents, if you want your kids to make it out of this world with eternal life, if you want them to make it more than anything, then you've got to show them the way. And the best way that you can make sure that they make it is by you making it. Doesn't matter what man says. It matters what God says. And I'm going to build an altar. And I'm going to let it stand to remind me where my strength comes from, where my victory comes from, to be a testimony to all who sees it. The people on the other side didn't like it. They wanted it tore down, but they built it anyway. There's those that want to tear down the altars today, but I say build them anyway. I say stand on them anyway. I say surrender to God anyway. I wonder, as we stand tonight, is there anyone here that will stand with me as we build an altar and bow ourselves before Jesus Christ and submit to His will? Is there anybody that will say, I'll take a stand with you? I'll bow before that altar of God and I say, God, I surrender. God, I'm going to stand for truth. I'm going to build an altar that my kids can see. I'm going to build an altar that my family can see. An altar of remembrance. An altar that can't be overlooked. An altar that can't be forgotten. Oh, I believe that there are people here today that are building altars. I believe there's people here today that's already got an altar built. I say keep standing. Keep standing. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Keep standing as you bow before God at that altar, as you put that flesh upon that altar, as you offer Him sacrifices of praise, as you offer up spiritual worship to Him. I say, don't give up the altar. Don't quit standing.